Hey, good evening. Welcome, 10th and 11th grade students and parents. I am Jeanette Alomia, Director of Guidance and Testing for the Huntington Schools. Thank you so much for joining us. This is a very important and exciting time for you and your students' lives. I have the pleasure of welcoming our first guest speaker. I'm gonna introduce him in a minute. He's been with us since he's been coming to visit us and presenting for a while, but he's also been in the admissions field for over 20 years. And his name is Mr. Samuel, Associate VP of Admissions from Hofstra University. He will be our first guest speaker. We will also have another two guest speakers from Princeton Review, Ms. Leah Murnane and Ms. Tricia Loria. And then we will have a counselor breakout session where you'll meet your respective counselors to discuss any pertinent information that you need to know for as your child is in 10th and 11th grades. This is also an optional counselor breakout session. So you can feel free to stay and chat with either Princeton Review or Mr. Samuel with any questions. Please note that the counselor breakout session will be done via Google Meet. I will be sharing out the Google Meet links. We will be sharing those out through the chat box. We will also have a Q&A after Mr. Samuel's presentation. So please feel free to just type in your questions or inquiries as he is presenting. And so I know that this year is like no other. I know that there's many challenges that you're facing and there are many challenges ahead, but I just want you to know that we are here for you every step of the way. I'm talking to you, student, and I'm talking to you as parents and guardians. We, the guidance department, is here for you. Whether it is to plan for career development, talk about college research, scholarship research, and any future goals that your child may have, your student may have, whether it is work or a trade school, post-secondary plans can vary in many different ways. And so we are here to also support you as a student and you as parents on a social emotional aspect, whether it is that you're going through some tough times of a little bit of anxiety or nervousness, fear of the unknown for the future because of COVID. We are here for you every step of the way. So without further ado, I will stop talking and introduce you to our wonderful guest speaker, Mr. Samuel. So I'm going to stop sharing my
And I will
screen.
go ahead and share my screen here. Just give me a moment. Right there. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for, I'm sorry, good evening, everyone. I've been sitting in front of this computer all day, but thank you for having me, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to come and speak with you. You know, you guys are at a pivotal point with parents and students with everything going on in the world around us, and colleges and universities are in that same place as well, because we're having to kind of change the way we're doing things as well and kind of adjust to what's in front of us right now. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that, but I'm going to talk a little bit about the normal way we were always doing things, and just let you have an idea of the way we're going to move forward. All righty. So the question is, what are you doing right now? What's happening with your world right now? And this is never going to change. One thing is never going to change is when you're looking for a college or university, know that you're going to find a place. You're going to find a place where you're going to feel right. Okay, a lot of people say you're going to find the right fit. I like to say you're going to find the place where everything feels right, because there's so many facets to that piece of searching for a college. You're going to find the college that's the right size for you. You're going to find the college or university that has the right major for you. Or what I kind of push students towards is you need to look for the college that's going to have all of the pieces in regards to pushing you in the right direction and challenging you in the right direction as well. So that means looking for not only the school that has the right major, but also the school that has the right university advisement center, career center, and all the other pieces to support you through your collegiate decision. Okay, and that's what you need to keep in mind as you're searching for a school. And we'll talk a little bit about that college search process as we go along. What I want to caution you about, and a lot of people have asked me to talk a little bit about this, is many people around us on Long Island are looking for the school that looks best on the back of your car window. Realize that there's close to 3,000 to 4,000 schools across the country and many more internationally. And what you need to do goes back to what I was just talking about earlier. You got to find the school that's right for you, that's going to provide the right options for you as you're searching for an institution. And the last thing that I want you to do, whether you're a sophomore or a junior right now, follow the directions, follow the instructions. And that goes for right now. You may not be applying for college right now, but you should be starting to look for institutions. So that means going on people's websites and figuring out, hey, should I visit? What's the proper protocol now for visiting, especially during this time of COVID? Because a lot of institutions do have specific protocol that they want you to follow as you're setting up school visits. So I want you to make sure that that's something that you're aware of. So follow the directions, okay? So again, as I talked about, many of you may be feeling still very anxious about this time because you're jumping in or just trying to scratch the surface of doing the college search, and you feel a little bit this way where you're kind of lost. You think it's a full maze, and then you're showing up, you don't know where to go. This one-way sign, I bet, is somewhere on Long Island. The craziness that we drive around here. But unfortunately, not only are we dealing with this, but now we have COVID-19 restrictions, changes in testing going on. And this whole new world, because we're all sitting in front of a screen right now of, Google Classroom, Zoom meetings. How does that all play in with everything that's going on? So what I want to do with tonight is approach tonight kind of in a traditional way and talk a little bit about, give you a little bit behind the scenes of what we're doing behind our desk in admissions, and then dive into the different pieces here, okay? First and foremost, when you need to apply for admission, these are the different pieces of the application that we want you to take a look at, okay? These are the pieces that are going to show up on our desks, on our computer screens as we're reading them, and we're going to be evaluating these. So I do want to just jump briefly into each one of these so you have an idea of what we're looking at, all right? I get asked all the time, what's the most important part of the application process? And to me, when we're evaluating a student, the high school transcript is one of the most important pieces, okay? For merely this reason, you're coming to our institutions, you're coming to our school to sit in a classroom, gain some knowledge, and eventually graduate to enter the workforce or to get into the field of your dreams. So we have to know that you can perform. And that level of performance is going to be determined by us looking at your transcript, evaluating your transcript. And predominantly, we're looking at years, your freshman, sophomore, and junior years. Sometimes we have your first semester, senior year grades available to us. When we're looking at these type of things, the course selection, what classes did you choose to take, becomes very important. Because we want to know how you challenge yourself. You always hear from different people, you need a rigorous course schedule. You need a rigorous course schedule. Well, what does that mean? What I want to assure you of is this, is that means something different for every single student, okay? Because there's some of you that may be able to do really well in an honors course schedule, in an AP's course schedule, but there's others that may be able to do really strongly only in a Regents course schedule. It's individually student-based, okay? And we want you to take that information and use the information that your school counselors are going to be there for. That's why they're there, to help you with the course selection process. You can talk to the teachers that you're with right now and saying, hey, I'm in your English class right now and I think I'm doing pretty well. Hey, next year, do you think I can challenge myself by stepping up a little bit? Okay, and taking that level of guidance. So the course selection is very important, but also senior year schedule is vitally important because we want to know the type of courses that you're taking ahead of the year that you come into our institutions, okay? It's the year right before you're gonna be sitting in our classes, okay? And I wanna know how you're doing. I want to know, how have you challenged yourself that very last year? Or did you just say to yourself, you know what? By the end of my junior year, I've gotten everything done to graduate. I'm just going to take a fluff year, senior year, and just fly through. Let me assure you that colleges and universities, we can read through the lines. Okay. One of the things that I can tell you is your admission counselor, at least for Hofstra, her name is Lindsay Salvucci. She's been traveling and visiting your high school close to the last 6-7 years. So she knows the offerings at your school. She knows what's available. So she knows if you're challenging yourself or not, because she's going to be the first reader on your application. So make sure you're taking, and those of you who are sophomores still have a couple of years, but as you choose your classes, your juniors, you're going to be picking out your senior schedule within another couple of months. And you got to be very careful as you're doing that. Okay, so that's the high school transcript and something you have to be very aware of. The next piece of it is something that's a little bit scary, is standardized test scores. Wow, has this been a roller coaster over the last couple of months? This has been a roller coaster of, I've heard somebody who's applying for admission right now who scheduled a test 9 different times, and 9 different times it got canceled on them. Okay, so there's a lot of things going on there. There's a lot of things going on there that you have to be aware of. But let me talk about it a little at a kind of a 40,000 foot level, and we'll talk about it regarding COVID. Many people think applying to schools is only this, that SATs define you, they figure out who you are, and that's who you are the rest of your life. It really does not mean that one bit. It does not mean that one bit, okay? There are different parts to the SAT. You have your regular SAT that's going through, you have your you have ACTs, and then you have a whole host of schools that are test optional. You have test optional schools, and now in this world of COVID, you have many, many, many more schools choosing to be test optional, okay? What I can tell you is this. Okay, what you need to do is do research at the institutions you're interested with, because you want to see what their average scores are. You want to see if they fall into the range of the schools you can get into, or they could be reach schools. Maybe they're just slightly out of your range, but you still should be looking at them as reach institutions. Okay, and that's something you should be considering. Okay, one thing with the SATs and ACTs, the schools that still do accept them, I'll guarantee you that many of them, I'll say 90 to 99% of them, do something called super scoring. So a junior, if you take your SAT, say in the March of your junior year, then you take them again in September of your senior year, what super scoring is, we're going to take your best set of scores, your best math score and your best evidence-based reading score, and give you the best score possible. We want to know who's doing well. We want to give you the best option there. Okay, we don't want one day of scores to define who you are. So we want to be taking a look at that. Now, let me just jump into test optional here, because that is something that's very, very, very much on the forefront of things right now. You're hearing it in the media because many schools, due to COVID, have gone test optional. What that means is simply that you can apply for admission, and it's up to you to send in your SATs or ACTs. Okay, you can go to a website called fairtest.org. That's fairtest.org, fairtest.org, and it lists a whole host of schools that have varied testing policies. Okay, now Hofstra University, we went test optional about 2014, 2015. So we've been in this arena, we've been in this game for many, many years. We've done the research on it, and we're very happy that we went test optional. Okay. Now, other schools may say they're test optional, but they also may require other pieces. They may say, you know what, we're test optional, but you may want to think about submitting another written sample. Okay, a graded paper from your senior year. Okay, so there's a lot of avenues that a school can go down. But what I want to tell you is, again, do not go through this process without researching your schools and looking into their FAQs, their frequently asked questions about their testing policies. And every school out there will lay it out for you very, very clearly. And I'm going to say this a few more times tonight. Call and ask questions at all the schools that you're interested in, because they may have different things that they have. Okay, and that's testing. But that's not the only different pieces of the application. There's so much more to it. And these are actually more of the things that I really enjoy. You have letters of recommendation and the essay. Okay, you have letters of recommendation in the essay, and these are two pieces that give us a different view into who you are as a student. Okay, so let's jump in. With letters of recommendation, now sophomores, you may be a little bit young to be asking people to write letters of recommendation for you, but juniors, you may want to start to think about who could write those letters of recommendation. Okay, start to figure it out, and I would recommend possibly by the close to the spring of your junior year, start to approach those people. Say, hey, Mr. So-and-so, Miss So-and-so, would you be interested in writing my college letter of recommendation? But don't just do it that way. Walk up to them, ask them, and I would recommend that you give them also a resume of what else do you do? What do you do outside the classroom? Okay, that makes you you. Okay, you want to be very careful about that. You don't want to be going back to your 8th grade teacher or somebody. Go to somebody who knows you now. Okay, because that's the person who's going to be able to write a very robust a letter for you, because what we're trying to do in the admissions office is paint a picture of who you are, and these letters of recommendation give us another piece to that. So the next piece is the essay. This absolutely is one of my most favorite parts of the application process, because the essay is a place for you as students, those students who are listening to me tonight. This is a place for you to be you. As I've written here, be creative. Be creative with who you are. Be creative with your form of delivery. Okay, I've had students who have written me poetry. I have students who have written me just like a short story answering the essay question, but we want to hear who you are. And the essay should answer, no matter what the question is, it should answer to the piece of who you are in your community, what's made you better. Okay, because we as an institution are looking, if we're looking to bring you onto our campus, we want to know how you're going to add to our campus and take our campus to the next step. Okay, and we want to hear about that. A new thing with the essay right now is you're going to see, if you're looking, because the Common App questions are out there, you can Google it and find what the current questions are. You can take a look at it. But what you're also going to find is some schools are asking about COVID. How's it affected you? Now, some people may say, well, you know what? It hasn't affected me. But there are other people, let me convey this in another story. I was helping a student with their application, and she was asking me, well, Mr. Samuel, how do I write the COVID essay? I said, what happened to you? She's like, not really anything. We went in at the end of my junior year, and we went into full remote. And what I ended up doing was doing class and helping my 2nd grade brother with his work because he couldn't get through it and he was having difficulty. I said, okay, so what did that teach you? Well, the only thing it really taught me was I really wanted to go into education. I said, that's a great story. That's the story we want to hear about. We want to hear how a situation changed who you are or affected who you are or spoke into your life. Okay, so use the essay in that way. And I can't say this more, edit your writing, spell check. It's always something that people leave out. And we're not English teachers, but it gets annoying when you're using the wrong form of there, okay, or something goes wrong. So make sure you're taking the time to take a look at your essay. Okay. The next piece is, who are you in your community? We want to know how you give back to your community. Okay. Extracurricular activities. Tell us about your clubs, your organizations, your community service. Okay. Tell us what you do. Okay. Because going to college, going to a university is not just about sitting in the classroom. It's about student life. It's how you're giving back, how you may be performing on the stage, you know, in the drama production, even though you may be a computer science major. We want to know all about that. I tell this story every year about my brother. I grew up on Long Island. I grew up out east in Ronkonkoma. I went to Sachem High School. And at the time my older brother graduated, he was graduating in a class of 13 to 1,400 seniors. Okay. And he, fortunately for him, unfortunately for me, he was number one. He was ranked number one in the class. And I heard it every day from my parents. Why can't you be like your brother? So he started applying to schools, and one school that he applied to, the famed Yale University, he applied. He was number one in a class of 13 to 1,400 student, GPA of 4.12, and SATs of a 1580 or 1590. So 10, 20 points away from a perfect score. Perfect academic student. But as wonderful as he was, Yale University came back with a thin envelope. Parents can kind of understand what I mean by a thin envelope. It was a letter of denial, one of the most joyous days of my life when we opened the mailbox. And the director of admission from Yale basically said, he wrote in blue pen right underneath the letter and said, "We wish you just did a little bit more." Because all he would do is he'd go to school, come back home, grab a bite to eat, take a nap till like 9 o'clock at night, study till 3 in the morning, and go back to sleep and then go back to school. That's what his rotation was for 4 years. He never got involved. He never did something outside of class. And that's why I'm encouraging you. I'm talking to sophomores here. I'm talking to some juniors here. Start getting involved. You can make an impact. Even though we're in a virtual environment, there's a way to be serving your community. So get involved. Let me jump into interviews here because interviews can be important. There's different types of interviews out there. There's informational interviews. There are alumni interviews. There are admissions, very important admission interviews that feed into your admissions decision. So you need to call the institution or check their website to see, even if they offer interviews, what type they are, okay? And you want to be prepared for them no matter what. Now, you may call an institution because you have something that you want to inform them of. Maybe you had a rough freshman year or sophomore year and you want to talk about it. You want to talk face-to-face with somebody. Well, call the institution and see, hey, do you mind if I can talk to you about this to explain something in your resume, in your transcript, okay? So whatever you do, come prepared and ready for your interview. And now when I say this, I'm talking to the students. This is your students, this is your interview. This is not your parents' interview. And I'll tell you, if you come into our office at Hofstra and I'm interviewing you, I'll greet you in our front office. And everybody, all of a sudden, what normally happens, everybody gets up to walk into my office and I have to turn around each and every time and I say, "Thank you very much, Mr. and Mrs. So-and-so, but I'm going to take Johnny in. I'm going to take Jane into my office to talk because this is her interview." Okay. So then they're a little bit disappointed, but the student follows me in and I'm going to give you a little secret here. My first interview question is always this: why Hofstra? Why are you sitting here with me? And if students, I'm talking directly to you, if you come off your answer saying, "Well, my mom and dad wanted me to," I'll tell you the interview's over then, because all it's telling me is that your parents want to come to Hofstra, not you. Okay. So you want to make this about you. You want to do a little bit of research about maybe the major that's going on, maybe something interesting that's going on at the institution. Okay. Or something you want to accomplish that's particular to that institution. Okay. So make sure you come prepared. Make sure you're ready. All right. And now the next slide is one of the scary ones, okay, that I always talk about, the cost of college. Always scary, especially in this time of COVID with people getting furloughed or possibly losing their jobs or their primary source of income. College costs can be scary. Okay, and people think about it in this way. I love this little picture here, but let me talk a little bit about it to put you a little bit at ease as we're going through this process. Now, there are scholarships. Not all institutions offer scholarships. Okay, not all institutions offer scholarships. So you need to be researching the college or university's websites, calling and asking, do you offer scholarships? How do you help meet need? Okay, but those schools that offer scholarships, they may come in different forms of academic scholarships, athletic scholarships if they're a Division I or Division II school. Okay, and there might be also fine and performing arts scholarships, which may require a portfolio or an audition. Okay, but these are all ways to bridge the gap, the cost gap of you going into that institution. Now, there's also need-based financial aid. What need-based financial aid is, that's based on your income. Many schools go down the road of looking at the FAFSA, which is a free application for federal student aid. Okay, and you don't really need to dig into that too much. I know the different schools do use sessions to talk about the FAFSA. There are also schools out there that use what's called the CSS profile. Okay, and that's something you'll encounter your senior year. But I strongly encourage students to file the FAFSA so an institution can get a better idea of who you are as a student, so we can help the whole family there. Okay. Now, scholarships usually are tuition-based scholarships. They'll help offset the tuition. Okay. And you know what? I'm very honest and very transparent about this. I work at Hofstra. Hofstra is one of the most expensive private schools on Long Island. Okay. We're pushing about $49,000 a year right now in tuition and fees. And there may be some people online right now who may want to sign off. But let me tell you this. That's our cost. But on average, we have what's called a discount rate. Every college and university has what's called a discount rate. Our discount rate is 51%. So on average, students are being discounted at a 51% cost. So my average financial aid package, including scholarship and need-based aid, is about $26,000, $27,000. So when you look at that in comparison to the overall cost, it should bring the cost back down to a realm of, okay, this might be doable. Okay. I guess what I'm getting at here is don't push a school off your list because of the sticker price that you're seeing. There's a lot of colleges and universities out there that work to make this doable for you. There's also a lot of scholarships out there that's external to the institution, and that's something that you need to be looking at as you're going through the process. Start doing your scholarship research. Your school counseling offices may have, access to a lot of different scholarship websites, okay? And that's something that I think you should be looking at as well, all right? So that's kind of the nuts and bolts of the application process, the cost of college. I'm sure many of you are feeling like this, especially at this point in time, okay? But what I want to do is encourage you, take a breath. Take a breath at this point in time, and let's talk a little bit about what we should be doing right now, okay? It's a lot of information. If you could walk away with a few things here, you'll be in a 10 times better place than when you walked in. So as you're doing research at colleges and universities, check out the size of the school. Is a school that has 200, 300, 400 people in a lecture hall style classroom the school for you? How far is that school from you? As I told you, I grew up out east. I grew up in Ronkonkoma, and I went to a school right outside of Cleveland. So that was 8 hours away from home. My parents couldn't afford to bring me home at all the small breaks, so I was there. I was the only one sometimes in the res halls. So distance is a factor, okay? Check out if you know what major you want. Check if the school has that major. Again, I want to emphasize, if you know your major. It's okay to go into school with no major. It's okay to go in undecided, okay? It's totally fine to be that way. And finally, affordability. I talked a little bit about the cost of college, okay? So you want to talk to those institutions, ask them what their discount rate is, or ask them, how do you handle scholarships, okay? And ask those questions. Don't hold back. They all feed into the college decision. Finally, as you're going, this is a great time to start to organize, okay? Figure out who's on your list of schools. Why are those schools there? Why are those schools there, okay? And start to answer some of the questions you see above here, okay? And you can start narrowing down your list, okay? One of the things I want to caution you about is if you could say, oh, I want to apply to this school, and your neighbor 3 houses down saying, oh, you're never going to get into there because of X, Y, and Z. Call the school. Because when we're evaluating students, when we're working with students regarding financial aid and scholarships, and the we is a global we, not just Hofstra we, it's on a student-to-student basis. We never compare student to student, okay? So that goes into your why of why you are keeping a school on that list. So where do you go from here? What I would ask you to do is start that research on the list of schools that you have. Right now is a great time to start visiting schools. Okay, Miss Almia and I were just talking about visits, and yes, Hofstra is open for visits, but there's other schools right here on Long Island that are not open for visits because of the COVID restrictions. So go to those websites, but I'll tell you, 99% of schools have a virtual option to take a virtual tour. They're there you could virtually meet with a dean or a program director of a major. Maybe you're interested in being a physician assistant or a nurse. You could possibly talk to the program major and the program director to talk and ask questions, okay? It's key through this whole process to ask questions, okay? The investment of a college education, the investment of possibly going 4 hours away is too large, too much to walk in without having your questions answered, okay? And please, as I said earlier, get the answers to your questions from the institution itself, not from somebody who went through the process before, okay? Because things may be changing. Just this year, we've seen the whole test optional policy change at different schools. Okay. So make sure you're asking those questions and make sure you're visiting the college representatives as they may do virtual visits at your schools, or hopefully the world opens up again that we may be coming into schools. Okay. But ask questions, and that it's key that you go through that process, that you are getting what you need to move forward. And you know what? Everything's going to work out. Everything's going to work out. This is my information. If you have any questions, please feel free. You could talk to your school counseling office. You guys have a great school counseling office, and they all know me. I actually live in the neighborhood. I live in the community, so I'm here to help. Miss Alamia, that's what I got. That's what I got here, and hopefully it was helpful, and we can go forward there. Okay.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you very
Awesome.
much.
No problem.
As Mr. Samuel said, please reach out, please ask questions, whether it is you have a particular question about admission criteria or course selection down the road as a senior. Just ask questions to potential colleges that you think, student, that you will apply in the future. But like Mr. Samuel said, always reach out. When in doubt, ask. We're open now for questions. If you can please post your questions in the chat box, I will be gladly to read them out loud, and Mr. Samuel can provide his expertise and his answers.
Pretty quiet.
I see a few questions coming in. Just try to make sure that I'm not missing the first question here. So one question is, many schools have a discount rate. If your average discount rate is X amount, why don't schools just charge that amount?
Right. I was actually just answering that question to Mr. Walters here. And it's an average. It's an average. So not all students get that amount, and it's a way, because what you have to understand is many schools have walking orders from their board of trustees to bring in a class that meets certain parameters, and colleges and universities leverage their dollars to get a class that fulfills those parameters. And that's why. But the size and amount of scholarship changes per school. So it's not, we don't have the full amount. So, and there's other schools that don't have as much as we do. And there's other schools, I've heard of schools out there that have discount rates up in the 60 to 70% rate.
Next question is, how many colleges do you suggest we apply to? Safeties and reach.
So this is a question that no matter what situation we're all in, it's asked constantly, right? I think a student should not apply to more than 8 or 9 schools, to be honest. 3 safeties, 3 right in that middle zone, and 3 reach schools, and that's where I think, because then schools start to blend together a little bit, and I think it's just a good place to be at that point. So.
Right. I think one of the questions here would be for us here. It says, when do juniors meet with the college officers? Well, you can first start going to virtual tours and college fairs. Everything is posted on every Friday. We have a newsletter called the Friday Flyer. And so it's posted on the website. You can look at be part of, I don't know if you are part of the junior Google Classroom, join that if you haven't, and you'll get a plethora of information with regards to when that happened. In terms of meeting with colleges and talking to college admissions, anytime during junior year is fine. A lot of students do a lot of further research in the springtime, but if you want to start searching and touching base with specific colleges, you can do that. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even tonight, and there's a couple of just national college fairs that are still available to students, so they can attend and talk to different colleges from around the country. So you can start doing that. We're always out recruiting. If you want to give each individual school a call and set up an appointment, I just got a call late this afternoon, that to meet with a student because they just want to get general information. We're more than happy just to set up a call and talk them through different things. But as I was saying earlier about visiting, different schools have opportunities to go to open houses. And I really encourage you as sophomores and juniors, go to those open houses and just get a general view of the schools.
Mhm. One parent asked, can you discuss more about the process of affordability at that process?
Sure, and affordability, is at the forefront of many people's minds about looking at colleges. And what you need to do is really look at the school and obviously look at if they have the major and things like that. But I want to encourage you to look at what's the return on investment there. What's the return on investment there? If you're going into, let me use a business student, for example. If you're going into a business program, you should be asking specific questions about, well, you have me paying this much tuition. What's the opportunity for internships? Are you going to help me find an internship? How many internships can I have? Can I double major? There are some schools out there that say, yeah, internships are totally available, but most of our kids take them in the summer because we don't have, where we're located, there's not too many business or marketing internships available, right? So you want to take that into consideration. You want to take into consideration the amount of help that's given, say, with tutoring and things like that. Those are all on the return on investment side of affordability of an institution, okay? I think everybody would love to go to school with no debt coming in and out of the school, but colleges and universities also need to provide those services, provide top-notch facilities, because that's part of return on investment. You want to look, if you're going to be a journalism major, you want to make sure that the cameras that you're using or the radio station, you want to be on the radio, that that type of technology is top-notch, because you don't want to be going out into the field and having to learn all kinds of new things. You want to hit the ground running. And I think that return on investment goes into the affordability conversation very much so.
I also think that in my years of being in the field of school counseling, that it is a family decision. And affordability can mean one thing from one family, and affordability can mean a different thing to another family.
Absolutely.
And so it all depends on your budget, your finances, the plan, what is the student's major in that potential income leaving out of college with that degree. So affordability obviously is a very individualized family decision. That definitely it's an important one. It's a tricky one, but it's an important one. And we can further discuss. I would say also, if you want to crunch numbers, always reach out. There's always the financial aid office. Hofstra University, any college can also sit down and speak with you with regards to the affordability factor.
Part of affordability, I think you need to, and this affected my college going, is travel costs. I'll tell you, when we were face to face, there are lots at a college fair. I'll tell you, one of the longest lines at a college fair is the University of Hawaii. We all want to be in Hawaii, but the travel cost back and forth from Hawaii is pretty high, so you want to take travel costs into consideration. You want to take, what's it going to be to go back and forth on all the breaks and things like that. So that's something you want to keep involved in the conversation regarding affordability.
Great point. Another question is, how important are foreign languages or foreign language classes in the college admission process?
So that foreign languages over the past many years has been a thing that's changed for many institutions. Schools like to see that you've challenged yourself with some foreign language, but then there are students have different learning modes that may prohibit them from taking a foreign language. We take that into consideration. We would love to take it, love to see a student take foreign language, at least try it, at some point, 1 or 2 years, but that's going to vary per school. That's definitely going to vary per school. We at Hofstra, we don't require a foreign language coming in, but we have a foreign language requirement while a Hofstra student. Okay, so it changes a little bit there. We're happy to announce that as of this year, we're going to start to acknowledge ASL as a foreign language. and take that in. So we're in a good place, but foreign language is going to be different per institution.
You can also view what each college's requirement in terms of foreign language is through College Board. So College Board has a college search engine that you can essentially see what the criteria, and it's pretty updated regularly. So you can see how many years that specific institution requires of high school foreign language.
Absolutely. There's some great search engines out there. You know, College Board has one, Princeton Review has a really good one. So there's a lot of ones out there. And I forgot to mention, even for scholarship searches, you can do scholarships.com. I mean, it's as simple as that to start to look for scholarships.
The other question, which is also kind of, tricky, is what is the average application fee these days?
You know, I think I keep saying the same thing over and over, and I apologize for this, but many schools, it's going to vary per school. Sometimes it's $50, sometimes it's $150 per school. It all depends. And this also guides the question that I asked earlier of how many schools should I apply to? You know, you got to consider the application fees. You got to really consider the application fees and see what each institution is asking for. Some institutions may charge $70, $80, but they may say, come and do a visit and we'll give you a fee waiver. Okay, so there's fee waiver opportunities as well at most institutions.
Yeah, I was going to say that when folks go to visit a campus, some colleges do offer a code that they can enter into their common app, and the fee is waived. So, okay. We have a thank you for the meeting. So let's see here. So how does honor roll reward or being on honor roll affect or help a student with scholarships or other benefits to get into college, like being on honor roll and
Sure. Being an honor society and honor roll are huge because it does go to it speaks to your transcript and the rigor of your transcript and the way you've challenged yourself. Not only are you challenging yourself, now you're being recognized for the work that you're doing. And that goes into it'll influence the admissions process a little bit. Again, schools handle it differently. Scholarships is a good question. I've heard of a few schools that give some scholarship money towards that, but mostly it's up to the institution of how it's handled. Okay. But that's a good thing to take a look at. You may want to take a look at, are there scholarships out there you can Google it, for students on honor roll in the National Honor Society or National Foreign Language Honor Society. Okay, there's all different things that you can take a look at. But will it affect your scholarship at a particular institution? That's institution-based. At Hofstra, it doesn't affect our scholarship model, but we do take it into account when we're going through the admissions reading process.
Another question is, do most colleges have different costs for online versus in-person instruction?
Good question. Very, very good
Yes.
question. And what I can tell you, what I've seen, again, things are changing day by day, is most institutions do not have a cost differential for online versus in person. Okay. And it's going to be hard to accept this fact without being in the midst of it. Sometimes it's harder to deliver online courses than it is in person nowadays, with our facilities and the technology that's needed and the quality of the courses that are being delivered. It could be a little bit more difficult. So more and more institutions don't have a cost differential. Now, I'm not saying that they don't. Some schools in the year to come may look at it a little bit differently and offer cost differentials. But to my knowledge, there usually is not.
Okay. So there is a question about PSATs and SATs. I suggest that during the counselor breakout session, perhaps pose the question, and we will definitely give that information for you. Would colleges rather see a student take challenging courses and score in the 80s or less challenging and score in the 90s? Another great question.
That is a very good question, and it's a question that sometimes it's hard for us to answer. Is it better to get an A as a Regents level student rather than a C in an AP course? It's tough to say that. I want to see the student who gets A's. in the AP course. So it's hard to give a set answer for that, but because we want to see that you're trying. But this is also where your school counselor comes into play. If you're getting an A in your English class currently, your school counselor might come in and say, hey, listen, maybe you should try that honors level class. Okay. That's what we want to see. I don't want to see the student who stayed kind of in the regular level English class for 4 years and got straight A's, because to me, that student's not challenging themselves. Okay. I want to see the student who pushed themselves a little bit. Okay. And say you push yourself into an AP English class, for example, and you didn't do as well. That could be a great essay topic as to why you may have dropped down a level. Okay. That you challenge yourself, and then because it's about self-realization and understanding who you are as a student. Okay. So it could be a kind of a dicey answer because of how strong the grades may be on all those levels.
Another great question, if you're going to be a D1 athlete, what NCAA guidelines do you need to adhere to? I can share with you the NCAA Eligibility Center's website right here. So it's in the chat box. There are academic criteria in terms of GPA, SAT, and core classes that a student athlete must take, and it differs from Division I and Division II.
Yep.
And so it's a definite conversation that you can have with your counselor during either a pre-reg meeting, or even bring it up at the counselor breakout session in a few minutes. Okay. But in the meantime, you can visit after this event, you can visit the NCAA website. Okay, sorry, I'm just going through.
No, please.
It's a lot of good questions. Let's see. Okay. Let's see. If a student has average grades in AP classes compared to above average grades in regular classes, how is it weighted? And so are you, I'm assuming that you want to know the weighing of the grade.
So a lot of schools that will do it, like that's one thing as we're looking at a high school transcript, there are some schools who have a weighting system of their grades, and other schools don't have a weighting system. And when a college or university is evaluating a transcript, they do it in a couple of different ways. We at Hofstra take the GPA from what it's given to us on the transcript. There are other schools that will strip out the weighting process and recalculate the GPA. There are other schools out there that actually take only the core set of academic classes determined by them and redo a GPA. Okay, so it all depends how it goes. We and many schools like to take the GPA right off the transcript. So we think the work that you're doing in a higher level class, like an AP class, needs to be recognized, and you should get that benefit, and that's why we do take a look at it. So.
Okay. Any more questions? I don't see any more questions in the chat box. Okay. You can always contact Mr. Samuel. He had, let's see. Oh, someone says it's a great meeting, very informative. You're welcome.
Thank you very much for having me.
This parent really enjoyed listening to you, Mr. Samuel, and that you're a very great speaker. And that you put a lot of humor in the meeting. I
try. Listen, if I tried to present just straight through, we'd all be bored, or you'd be breaking a TV screen somewhere. So you got to keep this lively.
Yes. And so another question came in. Does Hofstra University accept AP credit?
Yes, we do. And I'll tell you, many institutions across the country accept AP credit, and many universities have robust websites that tell you exactly how those credits are going to come in. So you can go to their website and just do a search of AP credit policy, and they'll tell you exactly what it may come in for. You may take an AP biology, and it may come in as Bio 101 for 3 credits. So go to many college and universities websites, and then the same thing goes if you're for classes you may take, locally at Suffolk Community College or something. those colleges and universities do accept credits at the college level as well.
And it's very important to note that you must take the AP exam at the end of the in May, and some schools accept a score of 3, but a lot of schools do accept a score of 4 or 5.
5, right? Absolutely.
So, any other questions? Okay. Okay, you're welcome. A lot of thank yous.
Yep, absolutely. Thank you for having me.
We're very grateful that Mr. Samuel came tonight, this evening. So we are going to move on to our next guest speaker. Oh, you're very welcome. Our guests are next. Thank you so much, Mr. Samuel, for your time and your dedication to the field and your expertise and knowledge of the admissions process, especially during this crazy time. So thank you so much, and we'll be
good luck to everybody there. So
thank you. So our next guest speaker, we have 2 wonderful ladies. We have Leah, Ms. Murnani, and Trisha Loria. And see if she can hop in. They are going to present to us programs offered by the Princeton Review. Let's see. So, oh, there you are.
Hello.
Hi, Leah.
Thank you for having us. I was just listening in for a bit, and I appreciated the shout out that we got from Mr. Samuel as well. Yes. We are pretty proud of our college rankings and also our college search tool on our website. So we know that the SAT and the ACT are a stressful piece of the whole college admissions process. So we have, we're here to help you with the test stress and all the anxiety surrounding the college admissions process. And we have a partnership with Huntington High School that we're very happy to have. There's a lot of mystery surrounding the whole process and confusion, and there people have, confusion regarding the different testing. So just so you know, we are a point of contact for you beyond the counseling office. And all of the counselors have our contact information, and we're happy to help support the great work that the Counseling Center is doing for you. So our partnership means that we have two different buckets where we can offer you assistance, right? We have discounted programs and we have free resources. Our discounted programs include SAT and ACT courses, SAT and ACT tutoring. We also have academic support courses and academic tutoring. And then we have a free self-paced SAT, ACT course that's available to all Huntington High School students. We recommend you take it in the sophomore or junior year. And we have free SAT and ACT practice tests. So we have 1 free test of each. These are great to use to benchmark your progress and to start off your prep, to decide which test is the right one for you to take. We recommend taking free practice tests as a great way so you don't waste time and money doing too much prep in the wrong direction. We also offer an on-demand tutoring free trial. This is homework help, and you get a free 60-minute trial as Huntington students. And we're here to provide informational seminars. So right now, I'm happy to jump on tonight and just talk with you for a few minutes. But if you want us to come back, if the PTA wanted us to come speak, we're always happy to provide extra information on lots of different topics relating to standardized testing and college admissions. We also are very happy to offer one-to-one consultations. So we're going to provide you links and information and contact info that Ms. Alumia will share with everybody after this. But we are available if you take the free practice test, if you just have general questions, to offer one-to-one consultations for those. So we also have, We have a breakout of what those discounted programs include. So your discount is 30% off, which is a really great discount off of all of our courses. The promo code is LI Partner. Again, you don't have to write any of this down. We're going to share it with you. But the promo code is LI Partner, and you get 30% off all of our SAT and ACT courses. So you're probably most familiar with the pricing for our SAT and ACT Ultimate. But we have more courses beyond those. And the Academy courses are the academic ones. You get 10% off our private tutoring packages. So that includes SAT, ACT, and academic, as well as the college admissions counseling services. Again, your guidance department is your first stop. They are wonderful, and they're going to support you every step of the way. We are just an added layer if you wanted additional college admissions guidance. So our SAT and ACT courses include the ultimate courses, which is 18 hours of instruction. Typically, that's 6 classes of 3 hours each. We also have 3 full-length scheduled tests built into those courses, so you can continue to benchmark your progress and improve and see how you're doing. It should never be a surprise on real test day how you might do. That includes tons of supplemental online video lessons, as well as our Live Online Advantage service, which are additional sessions. And your study plan is customized to where your starting point is in your online portal. We also have SAT 1400 plus and ACT 31 plus courses. These are what we would refer to as our honors courses, but anyone can take these. They're additional hours of instruction, an additional practice test, and more materials. And this is really for those students who are trying to join the top 5% of test takers. So typically starting at like a 1200 and trying to get to that 1400, for example, with the SAT. But again, open to anyone. It's 36 hours of instruction, so it's double the amount of hours of instruction as our ultimate course. We also have SAT and ACT cram courses right now. In the summer, we have summer, camp courses. So we also offer different types of courses in terms of length. And again, they're all going to get that 30% off discount. Our private tutoring is exactly what you might think it is. You work one-on-one with a tutor, but you also get a tutoring manager to support you, and you get that same wonderful online portal with all the additional materials. And then we have our academic offerings. So the on-demand homework help tutoring is actually for students in 4th grade up. This is you log on any time of day. Let's say it's right now when you were doing your geometry homework and you had a question, you would log on, write your question in, and be connected with a tutor in moments. And that you get your question answered, and that just deducts minutes from your package, right? Sort of like the Netflix for tutoring. This is really helpful to your teachers as well, because they don't have to get emails from you at 11:30 at night, and you get your question answered while you're doing your homework. We have separately from that, we have live online academic tutoring for middle and high schoolers. And that is your traditional one-to-one private tutoring. It just takes place online. We have tutors available in a wide range of subjects for 6th grade all the way through 12th grade. And Huntington students get that 10% discount. And then we have the Academy courses. Right now we're offering courses in algebra, geometry, and grammar. You can take these courses if you're in middle school and you're trying to prepare up. You can take these courses if you're currently taking these subjects in school to sort of supplement your work, or you can take them if you need a little refresher. Maybe you're planning to take the SAT this year and you took geometry last year and you want a little refresher in that subject. These are offered as small group courses. So it's a 10 students or fewer, and you do have a letter grade money back guarantee involved there. And again, you get the 30% off. So we also have free resources that are part of the partnership. The free SAT and ACT online self-paced course is on all of our partnership course offerings flyers. I know that you've probably seen it already, but we'll send it to you again. Again, we recommend this in their sophomore or junior year. The technology adapts to your learning. So you get a baseline practice test, and then you do all of your self-directed learning, but it is adapted to your strengths and weaknesses. Again, that 60-minute homework help trial is wonderful. A lot of people at Princeton Review, we've used this for our own kids, believe me, while we're all virtually learning. It's a wonderful thing. And we will share with you the link so that you can get that 60-minute trial for your students. And the free practice tests are also something we'll share links to with you. We recommend that you start off by taking a free practice SAT, then maybe give yourself a break, like a week or so, and take another free practice ACT. Or if you took the PSAT officially, then you take the free practice ACT. This way you can then compare your scores on the two tests and determine which is the right test for you. We never want people to take too much time away from their schoolwork worrying about these tests. These tests are separate things that you just have to deal with. So you want to figure out which is the right one for you and prep for that, and then hopefully forget about it. So when you take a free practice test with us, you're going to get a free score report that's very detailed. And then we're happy to go through that with you to help you figure out which test is the one that you want to pursue after that, and what the best prep plan for you would be dependent on that. Sorry, my slides keep flipping on this. So then we have other free resources that you might not be aware of. We have basically free information sessions on a host of topics, such as the college essay, or learning about geometry or grammar. These are live streaming on our website at the link there. And we have them at a calendar of events that you can find there to sign up for them. And you could also then see the recordings. You can take free courses, a little sample class. We have our editor-in-chief, who has been featured on the Today Show and plenty other media outlets. He records sessions and posts them on YouTube, talking about all of the updates. We've had so many updates to the tests over the past 6, 7, 8 months. So he records those updates so that everybody's in the know, and you don't have to get your information from College Board, ACT, all of these other places. And finally, like I said, Mr. Samuel mentioned our college admissions resources. So we have articles, we have rankings, and we have a search tool on our website, so you can help you find the best fit college for you. You have your own school landing page as a partner school. So if you go here, all of the discounts will already be entered for you. So this is a good place to remember to go. You don't just have to go to justprincetonreview.com. You have princetonreview.com/HuntingtonHS, and we'll share that with you. And if you would like us to come back, we can come back to talk about a variety of subjects. A lot of people like to talk to us after they've taken the PSAT. If they're a little confused how to interpret their scores. Maybe they want to hear about the detailed differences between the SAT and the ACT, possible testing timelines. The question we get asked most frequently is, well, so what's a good score, right? So that's another topic we can delve into. Like I mentioned, our friend Rob Franick, he tours the country usually in person, and now he's virtually touring, talking about finding your best fit college. And that's another engaging presentation topic. And we can also talk about things like, writing the college essay and these types of things that I'm sure you guys have been spending a lot of time talking about tonight. So if anybody has any questions for us, we're available. I don't know how much time you have before you have to go to your next thing.
We have a few minutes for questions.
Okay. I tried to talk fast.
You gave great information, very comprehensive, and it didn't seem rushed at all. So you did a great job. So now I'm going to open it for questions. If perhaps since the contact information is in front of your monitor, your screen, perhaps you would like to email or call the Princeton Review and just to discuss programs and whatever fits best for the needs of your student. So that would be, but right now I'm definitely can post your questions in the chat box. Feel free to do that. We're just going to take a few minutes for that. And so today, actually, our 11th graders took the PSAT.
Yay!
So, yeah. So I'm sure that's one less exam that they need to take. So, any questions, any comments for the Princeton review?
And again, Trisha's your point person, so that's her direct contact information in the middle of the screen. If you wanted to, talk to an enrollment advisor, you could also call 1-800-2-REVIEW. So we left that number there too.
Yeah.
And we'll give you all of the things that we mentioned. We'll give you everything that you could email out to folks. I'm sure you're going to be doing follow-up from everything else as well.
In terms of the PSAT and the test score that will be available in December, that will be discussed. You can also discuss that in the next, in the counselor breakout session. And I agree, you would definitely like to know what your student, how your student did in the PSAT today, so that they can focus on a specific part of the SAT, especially as a junior taking the SAT and ACT in the springtime. Pretty soon, that's around the corner. So, so thank you so much, Leah and Trisha, for joining us. We definitely need to do this like, more of a expose forum, and just have maybe a night, perhaps like you said, PTA. We'll definitely connect. We'll chat, definitely.
Great, we're happy to help, whatever you need.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Great. Okay, so now it's back to us here. And so if you go back to the chat box, your child's counselor posted their Google Meet link. And so what you do is that you will leave this Zoom meeting, because we would be done for this part of the presentation of the evening. And thank you so much for coming and participating. We really, truly appreciate you. And so if you would leave this, you click on this Google Meet link, and then exit from the Zoom meeting, you will be connected to the counselors breakout session. So I'm going to ask right now, counselors, Mr. Lashin, Ms. Hernandez, Ms. Croak, Ms. Brunoni, Ms. Saladin, to please log into your Google Meet meetings. And so parents will be joining momentarily. And like I said, just scroll up or down in the chat box, and you'll see your respective counselors' Google Meet link, and just click on that and it will take you to the meeting. For parents that are here for Ms. Bonilla, please remain in the Zoom meeting. Si hay padres para la señora Bonilla, quédese, permanece aquí para yo hablar, darle la charla de parte de la señora Bonilla. Thank you so much, Sal. You too. Have a great night. Thank you so much, Leah. Thank you, Trisha. Thank you. Excellent. So if you need assistance in finding and learning who your child's or your counselor is, please let me know, and I will be glad to tell you who that counselor is. Okay. And once again, just go into the chat box and scroll up and down and find your counselor's Google Meet link and just click on it and you'll be going straight to that the counselor breakout session. Please let me know if your counselor is Ms. Bonilla. You can write, I would like to know if anybody that is remaining in the Zoom meeting has Ms. Bonilla as a counselor. Si tiene a la consejera, la señora Bonilla, por favor déjeme saber en la cajita para saber que está aquí para poder hablar. Okay, let me perhaps if you go through the Chromebook, I don't know if you're a parent, use your child's Chromebook. If you're a student, use your own Chromebook. That would be easier to go into that Google Meet. Try that. To get into for Ms. Brunoni, I'm going to, let me see if I can copy and paste. This is Mrs. Brunoni's.